the courage and the vulnerability to share is so amazing, and I'm so grateful for all of the authors that are sharing tonight. Let's give them one more round of applause as they get their seats. We're good now. Okay. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. It is great to be here with you tonight among so many strong women leaders in our community. Everyone in this room, regardless as to your title or status, is a leader. You lead organizations, civic groups, gatherings at church, groups of friends, your families, your children. Each and every one of us is a leader in some form or fashion, and that takes grit. To show up each and every day with a smile on your face and love in your heart, especially on days when, let's face it, life has other plans for us that didn't quite make those to-do lists that we're all known for. Being a woman, showing up and having grit, to take it all in stride no matter what is going on when we're asked, "How are you?" The answer is always, and you can say it with me, "How are you?" Fine. Right? It's cool, we all do it. And that, my friends, is our superpower as women, to always be fine, even if deep down, we may not be. So I was fortunate to be asked by Jennifer to be an author in Tenacity. And shout out to all of my Tenacity co-authors who are here tonight. It takes courage to put yourself out there, and especially in print. But hey, we were also international best-selling authors, including the most recent book, Living Well with Grit. Give yourselves a round of applause to the most recent group. And as you sit here and think about that, isn't that wonderful? Isn't that inspiring? How a group of women who don't know each other can come together and produce over and over again best-selling books. Think about that for just a minute, and think about what that means for the future of women and for everyone sitting in this room. If a group of strangers can come together and achieve something so remarkable, imagine what we could do if we stopped being strangers to one another and took the time to get to know one another, supported other women, and genuinely cheered each other on and loved one another unconditionally. Well, actually, I'm blessed to know what happens, and I'm here to share a little bit more of you with that tonight. So let's address the elephant in the room. I do not look like the photo that y'all saw when you walked in here tonight. It's cool. And contrary to what some of you might think, I did not pay for this haircut. This is courtesy of cancer. Last year, Tenacity came out on November 1st. It was a great time for celebration for the 47 women that contributed to that book. Most of us first-time authors. And while we gathered to celebrate the success of that book, nobody had a clue that I was knee-deep into a new chapter, one that started September 8th with a routine mammogram that turned out to be anything but routine. Routine became abnormal, which required more scans, which led to biopsies and a diagnosis, breast cancer. The hardest part was telling my beautiful daughter, who was then 11 years old, that her mommy had cancer. That's something I pray no one in this room ever has to do. Having to try to stay strong when I could see the fear in her eyes, the confusion because I looked healthy. I felt healthy, but I was not. laying in bed with her as she said her prayers that night, as she whispered quietly, God, I know my mommy belongs to you, but please don't take her, because I need her right now, was almost more than I could bear. But I just hugged her and kept saying, everything's gonna be okay, baby. And I prayed if I said it enough, maybe I too would begin to believe it. But then, like most situations in life, when things get tough, I turn to humor. Now, it's usually bad humor for those who know me. So my daughter and I named my two little lumps Dumb and Dumber. Because this made sense. And of course, they were dumb and dumber for thinking that taking up residence inside of me was a good idea. And we knew they needed to get evicted, and fast. So that's what we planned to do. November 15th was my lumpectomy surgery, and I wasn't gonna let something like cancer stop me from leading the team. I mean, I'm the president and CEO of the St. Louis Area Food Bank. Surely I couldn't take a knee. Besides, the doctors said they caught it early. It'd be easy to treat. And I thought I could keep it a secret until the phone rang. Yes, they caught it early. However, the cancer had already spread to some of my lymph nodes, which means I would need chemotherapy to save my life. Now I was required to do the one thing I dreaded, telling others. Of course, I waited to the last minute, telling people a few days before starting chemo. And anyone who knows me knows I'm a type A planner, doing things way too far in advance. So the fact that I waited until the last possible minute told those closest to me all that I needed to know. I was scared. Fear is powerful, and left unchecked, it can consume us. But faith is stronger than fear and can be transformed into powerful fuel to make it through even the toughest of challenges. The irony is, from September to November, I really struggled. But when I started to tell people to let go, to truly let go, and let my faith in God and His perfect love take over, and let some of my family and friends in, that's when my blessings began. My first chemo treatment of adriamycin, which is also called the Red Devil, was awful. But my infusion nurse, Marla, who was a triple-negative breast cancer survivor, looked at me with compassionate eyes after a sedative. Okay, I'm gonna be real, I was completely freaking out. And she looked at me and she said, I know you've heard this medicine called the Red Devil, but I prefer to call it the blood of Jesus. At that moment, I found peace. I finished chemo April 30th, then went through 30 rounds of radiation, ended up getting third-degree burns, so not ideal, but finished radiation July 10th. A few weeks ago on December 5th, I went back to my surgeon for my first mammogram since the wheels fell off the bus, September 8th, 2023. When she came in and told me my scans were clear and that I didn't need to come back for another mammogram for a year, my mouth hit the floor. A year? I just broke down crying. I hugged my doctor and thanked her for saving my life. I wished her a Merry Christmas, and she smiled and walked out of the exam room. And just like that, almost as quickly and quietly as my roller coaster journey began, alone in an exam room, 15 months later, it was finally over. Now, I could go on for hours, but I won't, about all the signs that I received along the way. And as I reflect on this journey, I realized how many ways that God was sending me not only signs, because He was right by my side every step of the way, but it was the people He put in my life. And I'm so blessed that many of them are here with me tonight. To my mom, who was such a source of strength, and who also took the brunt of my emotions through this journey. And let's just say they weren't the calm, quiet, lovey-dovey ones. I mean the ugly ones. You took it all, you let me vent, you let me be real, and you never stopped quietly showing up in ways that only a mom can. Thank you for flying in from Denver to be here, Mom. I love you. To my friend Megan, who last year celebrated 1 year as the executive director at the Komen Foundation. Plans, God, He got this. Who would have thought that your job change would have played such a huge factor to support me in my journey? Your supporting candor has always been a source of strength for me. Thank you, because you are helping women in their darkest times, and you are such a light. Thank you for your strength and your humor. For my friend and coworker, Elisa, your prayers, your support, your smile, I cannot tell you how many days you just popping in to check on me and then celebrating each milestone with me truly meant on this journey. You are an amazing woman and mom, and I'm so glad that you and Allison are here tonight. Thank you for always supporting me and cheering me on, as only a mama can do. My dear friend and rooted sister, Deborah, your weekly and sometimes daily prayer text were such a source of strength and quiet reminder that somehow this was always going to have a happy ending. It's something I could never repay. Your joy, your love, you are such a blessing, my friend. Thank you. My friend Amy, you and I spent more hours talking on the phone when I probably should have been lying on a couch. You listened, you loved, you were my constant cheerleader from afar. It means so much that you flew in from Florida today. I mean, who leaves Florida to come to St. Louis? Nobody. Your support and encouragement was game-changing. Thank you, my dear friend. My dear friend and work BFF, Hera, who's not here tonight because she's got the flu and I've got something. She was one of the first people I trusted with my news, and she showed strength when I was weak and never let me miss a beat. Her cards, texts, and hugs were such a continued source for strength in my family. I'm blessed to have her in my life. And then there's my daughter, my beautiful daughter, Abigail, who's now 12, here tonight, who had to grow up way too fast and way too soon. Your love, support, prayers, hugs, and humor are the reason I am standing here today. Your chemo countdown board, your prayer affirmations, your strength and your love is why I endured all of that poison and why I fought so hard to be here. God heard your prayers, sweetheart. And yes, while I belong to him, he knows you needed me more, and I need you. You're my inspiration in my whole world, and I love you. You see, none of us can do life alone. We need one another. Life is wonderful, but it can also be messy. Having grit doesn't mean that things aren't hard, and it also doesn't mean grit it out alone. In fact, having grit means that you have the ability to both show strength and vulnerability at the same time. I know this now. Having grit, it turns out, means you actually have the ability to experience growth and realize you don't have to fight things on your own. Have the resilience to recognize and celebrate the small wins along your journey, despite the setbacks you will face, as long as you have friends to lift you up. Not only set your intention, but have the courage to bring others along with you for support, cheering you on and supporting you in your goals, all while having the tenacity to never give up. But more important, to surround yourself with other amazing women who will never let you give up and never leave your side, especially when you're a bit crazy, super bald, and mildly unpredictable. We as women need to support and lift up one another. Being a woman is not a competitive sport, for crying out loud. It's a team effort. So through this journey, I've learned that strong women stand together when things are rough. We hold each other up when we need support, and we are always there to laugh and love one another. Having a tribe of strong women who will support us in good times and bad is what helps us not just survive, but thrive. My wish for all of you tonight and in this new year is twofold. First is that you will focus and build up your group of grit girls who will laugh with you, cry with you, challenge you, support you, pray with you, listen to you, and yeah, kick you in the ass when you need it or deserve it. And second is that you will make it a priority to be a grit girl for someone else this year. Be the laughter. Be the shoulder. Be the inspiration. Be the strength. Be the prayer warrior. Be the listener. And be the ass kicker that I know you are all capable of being. I am forever grateful for the strong women leaders in my life and the roles that they all played for me during this chapter that I will simply call 2024. And although if I was leaving a review for 2024 on Yelp, it would get a big fat do not recommend. However, if I was leaving a review for those who helped me through it, it would simply read, the best of the best. I would not be here without you. So thank you to my friends, my family, my sisters, for being a part of my story. Cheers to you, cheers to us, and cheers to our next chapter of not just surviving, but thriving together. I love you all.